Theo. Sam!
Go, go, go!
So what we're going to do is start with some of the wires that we already have coming to the back of the car. So I have this one that comes out and it's labeled G2D. Okay, so we can see that and we'll look at our wiring diagram and we'll find out where is G2D. That's this wire, which goes from the isolator switch, which is the key switch, goes to the fuse holder, which is this part right here. So what I'm going to do is loosen this bolt, put this on that side, and then we'll find the wire that goes on the other side. So I'll just screw this out. That on there. Thread that back on just a little bit, just like that. Now I'll find the other side. I can look on my diagram. The other side of that fuse holder is G2E. So now I'll go find G2E in the rest of my wiring kit and put that wire in. So I have G2E. And this wire has one end that has a bolt and one end that has a stud. So we'll put the bolt end onto the fuse holder and the stud end will go somewhere else. So I'll go ahead and thread this piece off right here. Put the bolt end on it there. Thread this back on. Now, since we set up that fuse holder there, if it's called a fuse holder, it probably needs to hold a fuse. So we're going to grab one of our fuses. We have a lot of extras here. And we're going to take that fuse and it slides in just behind both of those wires. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and tighten these bolts down all the way using my 8mm wrench. All right, now that's done, we can close the fuse holder. The reason we put it with that latch up top is so that if we need to open it again, we can use a screwdriver and we can pop that latch off really easily to open. So now we can look at, we have this wire, G2E. So we'll go back to our sheet. G2E goes into the top left part of the connector block, but it shares that with this G2F wire. So we're going to grab the G2F wire and put both of them in that spot. And that G2F wire is hidden with the zip ties. You don't know why, but that's where it is. Okay. The end of this wire isn't stripped to where we can see the copper inside. So what we're going to do is use some wire strippers to cut the insulation off the outside of it. Find the right size. Take 3. And it opens up the wire where we can get to it. So now, inside of here, there's a flathead screw. We're going to back it out. And then what I'm going to do is put the wire in and the post in. So we're going to put this in. And that one, okay? Then I'll tighten this down. Okay, we get it nice and snug. And then we just want to check that neither one of these pulls out. So that's good. Now we'll pick another wire to start with. So let's go with, we're on our fuse block here. We've got a motor wire that goes to the second one. All right, well, we know that these two wires go to our motor. So the black wire goes to the second one down on the left side. So let's go ahead and use our screwdriver. Unscrew this a little bit. And then screw that down to where it's touching the wire, not the insulation, on the inside. And then give it a pull to make sure it's snug. And that one's good. We'll do the same thing with the red wire from the motor, which we can see goes to the third one down. Tighten down. There. And give it a little tug to make sure that it's in. Okay. Now, since we've done 3 on this side, let's go ahead and do the 4th one. So if we look on here, the other side of G2F, which was this one, and the brown wire from this G2K. And since we pushed the label down, we know that this is the G2K wire, and we'll grab the brown cable from it. So I'll strip the other side of this wire. Maybe a little bit more of this one. I'll put those two together and twist them. Just like that. And then I'm going to take those two and put them into the bottom. Tighten it down. And make sure that this one doesn't pull out and that this one doesn't pull out. All right, now we're going to move on to another wire. Since we got one of these wires from G2K hooked up, let's find out where the other one goes. So I have G2K. We did the brown wire, so the blue wire comes to the left relay. All right. Well, we have a relay here and a relay here. Since this one's on the right side, this one is the left relay. On the relays, you can see here, we have 2 studs and 2 spades, is what we call those. This wire obviously has to go on one of the spades. So we'll turn this relay to whichever way we can make it reach. Actually, right here is fine. And I'll plug it in to one of those. And just push it all the way down, just like that. Okay? So now that wire is done, let's move on. Since we started on this relay, if we look on here, one of the spades was on G2K. We did that. So now the other spade is G2M. And it goes from the left relay to the right relay. And it's a red wire. So we'll come grab the wire labeled G2M. And we'll plug it in on one side to the left relay. Just like that. And on the other side to the right relay. Just like that. Now we'll go ahead and finish out this relay. So now we have to get the two studs on this relay. On the left relay, one wire is G2J. So I'll grab the wire that is G2J, and we'll go ahead and hook it on to one relay and then the other one. So I'm just going to loosen that. This one on. And right now, we're going to leave this here dangling. We'll get the other one, and then I'll make these wires fit better. So the other one on this relay is G2H. Can you see that? All right. So I'll grab the G2H wire, and that wire has one post end and one stud end. So obviously we're going to use the stud end to put on the relay. So go ahead and put this one here. Put that on. And now I'm going to use my 10mm wrench and tighten both of these bolts. Nice and snug. We don't want them being loose. All right, and now that that relay's done, we're going to twist it down. Now that it's down here, we have enough room to put these wires where they go. Okay, so let's go back to G2J. And that wire went from the left relay to the right. So we'll go ahead and put that on the right relay. And then the other side of this relay gets a G2G wire. So I'll grab G2G, which has a stud end and a bolt end here. So we'll put the bolt end on the relay. Then I'll go ahead and tighten both of those down. All right. So now let's get this back part of the relay done here. So on the right relay, we have 2 wires going into the back part of that relay. Okay? So one of them is G2N, which we already plugged in. So we're actually going to have to unplug that because we can't do 2 wires until we use the other one here. The other wire is the blue wire from G2L. So if we look at that blue wire from G2L, the blue wire here has a really funny connector on it. It's got a connector that goes over a spade here, but then it's got this weird tail. So what we're going to do is take that G2M wire, and we're going to plug it onto the tail. Can you see that good right there? Plug it in right here. We're going to push it down. All the way, just like that. Okay? Now we're going to put the spade of the relay right above where my fingernail is, right into that slot. You see that there? Right into that slot. So then this comes in here. That kind of works. Push it all the way in just like that. So now we'll go find the other part of that relay. So I'll look on here. The right relay gets a black wire that's G2N, which is this wire right here. And it's got this end on it and the other end. We're going to go ahead and strip this other end so I don't have to do it when it's hooked to the car. Okay. So now I'm just going to take this and put it on the other part of that relay. Just like that. Now that this relay is all hooked up, I'll go ahead and rotate it down. And then we'll work on getting the rest of our wires hooked up. Okay. So I've got G2N. We'll just look on here. G2N goes into the bottom right part of the connector block with the green and yellow wire from G2L. So I've got G2N and the green and yellow wire from G2L. Just like before, I'll twist them together. And then put them in the bottom spot and screw it tight. Just like everything else, we're going to grab one of them, tug it, make sure it's good. Grab the other one, make sure it's good. So now let's go ahead, since we've only got one left on this wire, let's find out where the brown wire from G2L goes. So G2L is here. The brown wire goes to the next spot up with a red wire that's called G2B. So let's find that wire. It's right here, G2B. And we're going to use this end, the post end of G2B, with the brown wire. And give us a little bit more. And I'll take this, try to wrap it around once, like that. Put it in, and then tighten down. Make sure that this is good and that this is good. All right. Let's go ahead and move up one more wire. This one is G2H. That goes in by itself right there. So G2H. And we'll just take that wire, thread it in, and then thread it. And tighten this down. Make sure it's in, and we're good there. So now let's get the top one. And that's wire G2G, which is this one right here. So we'll take G2G and we'll thread it in at the top. And tighten that down. And that's all the wiring on the back of the car. Right, so to install the batteries, we're going to need both batteries. And we'll lift the battery. We always want to make sure to lift it with both handles. Making sure that the connections are on the outside of the battery box, not in the middle. So I'll put that one there. Now we're going to put the battery bar on top, and that gets secured using two GP1363 bolts and two 1216 washers. Putting that down there. And then we'll put the other one right at the back of that battery bar. And we'll tighten those with a 10mm wrench or socket set. Which I don't know where that is. So now I'm going to open up the bolt packet from the batteries. And in that, we have 2 bolts, 2 washers, and 2 split washers. So we're going to put a bolt, a split washer, and a flat washer together. A bolt, a split washer, and a flat washer together. And now we can start hooking things on. So I know from my diagram here, with this battery, the black wire on the black post is G2C. This wire right here is G2C. So I'll take that, put it right there, take one of these, and screw it down in, and that's a Phillips head. So I'll just tighten this down. Now, on here, this red wire is G2B. So I'll find the G2B wire, and I'll put that on there, the other bolt. Then I'll tighten that down. Now, I have to connect this black to this red. So we do that with the very last wire we should have, that is G2A, from one battery to the other battery. G2A is right here. So this will connect those 2 posts right there with these 2 bolts. A split washer and a flat washer. A bolt, a split washer, and a flat washer. So then we'll take this wire and go ahead and put the bolts in. One there, I'll tighten it in a second. And one here. And teachers, to keep y'all from losing this wire when you take the batteries out of the car, what we like to do is use 2 zip ties. So one zip tie, we're going to put right around the frame of the car, right there. And just barely tighten it to here. So it's tight and it's not going anywhere. We take the other zip tie and go through the loop and around that wire. And we're going to pull it all the way tight. And now this wire is always going to be attached to the car. So you won't lose it when you go to a race and forget to have it. So now we'll tighten down both of those bolts. And that's the batteries installed.
Jenny Bees. See you next time.